Hello viewers, this is the moment no one expected, and one we absolutely had to see. When Barack Obama, former President of the United States, gently lifted his daughter Malia Obama's baby into his arms for the very first time, something profound changed in that room. It wasn't just a grandfather holding a child, it became a bridge between legacy and new life, between public service and personal joy. Did you know that only around 40% of men over age 60 ever become first-time grandfathers? This made that midday moment even more rare and unexpected. And beneath the smiles there was something quietly vulnerable, something that almost felt like a secret being shared. Stay with me, because what you're about to witness isn't simply a family snapshot, it's a turning point, and you'll want to see every subtle gesture and every silent emotion until the very end. Malia has grown up under the most intense spotlight, daughter of Barack and Michelle Obama, living in the White House from age 10 to 18. Now, she has a baby of her own. And Barack, who has experienced global leadership, policy battles, and international stages, for him, this is an entirely different role. A grandfather. That shift carries weight. Imagine the former leader of the free world, stripped of protocol for just a quiet moment in a living room, feeling the soft weight of a newborn. The contrast is striking, power and policy, meeting lullabies, and diaper changes. You might ask, why is this such a big deal? Because in that room, cameras were off, the press was gone, and the world outside waited without knowing the details. This was not a staged photo op. It was private. And yet the ripple from that moment will be public. There's a subtle tension, on one hand, the global figure, on the other, the ordinary vulnerability of a grandparent. And something slightly mysterious, how much of what we saw was spontaneous, and how much was mindful. Did Barack feel the weight of the office even in that quiet moment? We'll get to that. When the moment arrived, Barack reached out with the kind of gentle deliberation you don't often see. You could almost see in his eyes, here's someone I didn't lead with speeches, but with my arms. Malia handed the baby, and Barack cradled that small life with the same careful poise he once reserved for diplomacy, but now with an unmistakable softness. As he looked down, the room seemed to pause, the cameras were irrelevant, the public persona momentarily set aside. In that cradle of arms, the former president became simply Grandpa Barack. And the baby? Perhaps unaware of the historical magnitude, but sensing calm, warmth, care. That's the visual that sticks. Think about this. For years we watched Barack Obama in business suits, addressing crowds, shaping policy. But for a few minutes in that quiet room, he swapped the lectern for a rocking chair. And that shift matters. It tells us something about change, about priorities, about legacy. Malia saw her father not as a public figure, but as a man quietly embracing a new chapter. And Barack saw part of his legacy not in legislation, but in family, in a new generation. The emotional transformation is clear, from leader of a nation to simply a loving grandfather. Something inside that moment was fundamentally altered. On a personal level, this moment repositions the Obama story. It signals a passing of a torch, not politically, but personally. The baby represents the what's next for the family. Barack holding the baby shows continuity. For the public, it humanizes a figure we associate with gravitas. It reminds us that even great leaders face the same tender joys and uncertainties we do. For us watching, it invites reflection. How do our own milestones mark change? The exclusivity of the moment adds value. We're let in on something intimate, not just another headline. And here's where things get even more interesting. Because while we saw Barack holding that baby, we don't know everything that followed. What was said in that quiet moment? What unspoken lessons were passed from father to daughter? What will this mean for the child's future, growing up in the shadow of an iconic family? Those questions linger. We'll leave them hanging, because some of the most powerful parts of this story aren't yet public. So here's the takeaway. In one unexpected scene, Barack Obama held his granddaughter for the first time, and in doing so, revealed something deeply human beneath the public persona. The respect, the love, the softness, it wasn't just a photo moment, but a statement, that even those who have shaped history find new beginnings in family. If you found this look inside that fleeting but profound moment meaningful, I invite you to share your thoughts below. What do you think Barack whispered to his daughter? What future do you imagine for the baby? Let your insights ripple out, because the story doesn't end here, and your reflections might just carry it forward.